This file is too big. I gotta move the whole thing over and it's 4K? Man, we're switching to HD. Hey, thanks for tuning in to another episode of Improv Law. This week, I want to talk about the age-old idea of agreement. Agreement. In improvisation, we have a cornerstone rule. You might even call it a law. It's yes and, man. It's no mystery. Yes and is the cornerstone of what we do in improvisation because you've got this idea that we're doing scenes with no preconceived direction, no script, nothing like that. So let's say, for example, someone in that scene looks at you and says,
"Hey, thanks for going grocery shopping. Can you hand me that bag of groceries?"
And you say, "No." And now all you're doing is arguing about the fact that you won't be helpful, which is, kind of crappy of you in the first place. I mean, help people bring the groceries in, right? And truthfully, if you want to do an argument scene, go watch the original argument from Monty Python. I mean, if you could do better than that, go for it, but probably not.
An argument is a connected series of statements to establish a definite proposition. No, it isn't.
And if you haven't seen that, oh my goodness, what are you doing? Go watch comedy. So then the other option is someone says, "Hey, could you hand me that bag of groceries?" And you say, "Sure." That's agreement, right? I said yes, didn't I? Take the groceries. Look, we're kind of still in an argument, which is sort of weird, but also, we haven't really done anything with it. We haven't built anything. There's nowhere to go. So in the world of improvisation, we've added the word and to that yes. We've added the word and. Wow, I can't believe how weird this sounds. So in the world of improvisation, we've added an and to the yes. Yes and for us is simply the idea of agreeing and building. Didn't realize how much I was talking with my hands. So someone makes an initiation or an offer, you agree to it, but you add to it so that we can go somewhere else. "Hey, could you hand me that bag of groceries?" "Sure, and thanks for buying smooth peanut butter, because you know I hate chunky." And with that silly example, we've got a relationship that's growing. We've got people who know each other, who understand each other, and, who shop for each other occasionally and make sure that the thing that the other person wants is in the damn bag. So there you have it. That's yes and, right? But there's a lot going on here with agreement. First of all, the idea that you just constantly say those words is kind of ridiculous. Nobody goes through their life when someone makes an offer that says, "Yes, and could we do this? Yes, and could we do that?" That is crazy. But because we're so used to saying no to stay safe, we're like, maybe or but, improvisers have to just get that out of our system. It's not in our nature to just agree with things. So we have some games and exercises that we play to try to work that part of your brain out. So you just get used to saying yes and a little bit more. Here's the classic one. Believe it or not, it's called yes and. In my class, I usually start with something simple like, "Hey, would you guys like to go to the movies?" "Yes, we'd like to go to the movies and buy popcorn." "Yes, we'll buy popcorn and we'll see a horror movie." "Yes, we'll see a horror movie and I'm gonna throw up halfway through because I'm allergic to artificial butter." Something else I wanted to talk about with yes and is just that the second you get a little bit more advanced in your work as an improviser, it starts to feel artificial. It starts to feel disingenuous to just constantly agree with someone. So in my long list of studies with amazing teachers, I was lucky enough to take classes with TJ Jagodowski and Dave Pasquazi. These guys are legendary, and if you haven't seen some of their work in person, try to find a way to do it, and definitely check out their movie, Trust Us, This Is All Made Up. It's part documentary, and it ends with an hour-long duo long-form performance. It's incredible. They're incredible. In one of their classes, we were talking about yes and they said there's a lot of ways to agree that are more natural than just repeating those words over and over again. The example that they used was hilarious, and I tell my students in every class I've taught ever since. TJ looked at Dave and said, "Here, hold my scorpion." And Dave looked at TJ and said, "Go fuck yourself." Now come on, that's agreement. At least we agree that there's a scorpion there. It's not like he said, "Hold my scorpion." The other person was like, "Oh, that's not a scorpion, it's a booger." Come on, man, stay present in the moment. But truthfully, isn't that honoring that suggestion, that initiation, that offer of a scorpion? Yeah, if you're the kind of character that wants to play with somebody's scorpion, sure, go ahead and say yes and to it. But you can also agree to the reality of the situation by being someone who doesn't want to touch a scorpion. That's most people. That should be most people. Most people shouldn't want to play with scorpions. Man, that's so judgmental. Scorpions are deadly. Be careful. Don't play with scorpions. Or play with them if you're qualified. All I'm saying is, if a character in an improv scene tells your character to do something they don't want to do, well then you're agreeing to that situation by being someone who doesn't want to do it. That's okay. There's a lot of other cool little hints and tips about agreeing with your body and not with your words. You could be like, I don't want to do this, and then kind of do it anyway. But that leads me to another part that I wanted to just address a teeny bit in this video. And that is that I think yes and sort of permeated our culture as improvisers. And for years, people have taken what they were doing on stage and taken it off stage and confused the whole world of like being a person. So I guess my point here is, while it's a fundamental building block in improvisation to say yes and, when you're off stage, if someone makes a suggestion for something that you know is not right for you, say no. That's totally fine. Please say no. All the time. If someone asks you to be in a show you don't want to be in, or be in a scene you don't want to be in, or put yourself in a situation you don't want to be in, just find a way to say no. Improvisers are allowed to say no. Characters on stage, slightly less so. Improvisers in real life, take care of yourself. And if you have any trouble doing that, find someone that's willing to say no for you. I mean, we're out there. I think that's all I wanted to say. I know some of this stuff is a little dicey and potentially controversial or whatever, but I just want you to know that there's a difference between the improviser and the character that we're improvising on stage. I mean, the improviser is the artist. The character on stage isn't real. It's just someone that you're portraying for a little while for people's enjoyment. The improviser has to keep going for years in this art form. And the only way you're going to be able to do that is to feel good about what you're doing. So don't let anybody change that for you. That's crap, man. That's crap. I hope you guys are still finding some of this helpful. Thanks so much for watching these videos. I mean, I know a lot of it's the insane ramblings of a big-hearted idiot, but I really do stand behind this stuff. If you're having a good time, oh man, I almost asked you to like and follow me. Man, that's crap. I'm never doing that, you hear me? I mean, you know, you can do it if you want to do it, whatever. Oh man, I just broke a promise I made to myself. That's weird. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Improv Law. See you next time.